Okay, so I have to wonder if we're gonna see a dick pic, but we'll see. Hello?
It's Sweden is a super interesting place because it's a testing ground and it's also the home of the deep state. There's one family in Sweden called Wallenberg, the Wallenberg, that is a major part of the deep state.
Okay. The Wallenbergs are a major part of the deep state. I have no idea who these Wallenbergs supposedly are. Family in Sweden. Ah, Wallenberg family. The Wallenberg, this is from Wikipedia. The Wallenberg family are a prominent Swedish family, Europe's most powerful business dynasty. Wallenbergs are noted as bankers, industrialists, politicians, bureaucrats, and diplomats. The Wallenberg Spheres holdings employ about 600,000 people and have sales of 154 billion a year. I mean, 154 billion dollars in sales isn't actually all that much. If you're talking about families of several people. I wonder if they're Jewish. Early history. The earliest known member patrilineally of the Wallenberg family is maintaining farmer Per Hansen of Hertzberga outside the married twice. Maria Christina Wallenberg. Yeah, they don't seem to be Jewish. What is one thing I would miss about modernity? Electricity. Electricity, definitely. Medicine. Medicine would be, yeah, medicine would be another. But electricity first and foremost. And, I mean, these idiots that are supposedly environmentalists and are making life difficult. Um, yeah, I don't know much about these Wallenbergs. I'm surprised I've never heard of them before. I'm guessing there's a lot of people who assume that they're Jewish. Let's see, Wallenberg. Family religion. Let's see if there's any information on that. Raoul Wallenberg. That's an interesting. Oh, Righteous Among Nations. Raoul Wallenberg. I was wondering. Apparently, he was 1/16th Jewish. Yeah, Raoul Wallenberg. I'd heard of. He's not Jewish. Hmm. Interesting. Don't you have a bunch of work and stuff to do? I do, but um, this stuff is fun. Or you could do that J-date thing. uh, um, yeah, I suppose I could. But what's the fun in that? Girlfriends are fun. I'll have to take your word for that. Which reminds me, um, that thing I asked you about. If you must, what's the deal with the back and forth between God and man? Do you mean Ratzo Vashov? If you're talking about Ratzo Vashov, it's not really. I mean, I guess it is back and forth between man and God, but I'm not sure if you mean Ratzo Vashov. If you mean Ratzo Vashov, that's a bit complicated. Could be. He said some Hebrew stuff that I forgot before. So Ratzo Vashov, the way to think about Ratzo Vashov is there's that verse Ner Havaya Nishmat Adam, the light of God is the soul of man. Proverbs 20:27. Ner Havaya Nishmat Adam, Chofes Kol Chadrei Batin, searching all the inner depths of heart, stomach, self. So Ratzo Vashov is kind of, so think of a lamp. Well, think of a candle. Right? So you have the flame, and the flame is like the soul of man, reaching always up towards God, but bound to the wick. And it flickers, right? All flames flicker up and back down and up and down, right? And that Ratzo Vashov is the thrumming of the human soul. We all have times when we are more emotionally connected to our spiritual, higher, you might say, self. And there are times when we are less connected, when we are more grub, is the Yiddish word for it, more carnal, And that Ratso Veshov, back and forth, that thrumming up and down, it's an integral part of the human spirit. And human beings are referred to in Jewish mysticism as Mahalchim, those that walk, as opposed to the angels, which are referred to as Omdim, those that stand, because a human being walks and moves. And part of that is the up and down, back and forth of human life. Yep. So that's the deal of Ratso Veshov. And it's a necessary and integral part of human spirituality. Did that answer it for you, Roman? Glad to hear it. The question I had asked before was, if God hides from man, does man also hide from God? No, man does not hide from God. Man tries to hide from God. Man does not accomplish that vain attempt. And you should really go to sleep. I'm just waking up. Yeah. Yes, Adam tried, and he failed spectacularly. There is an aspect in which shame is actually a good thing. There's that. Is it Daniel 7? Why don't I pull up Sefaria? Today is actually a fast day in Judaism, and don't presume that I'm fasting, but a fast day is always a good time for human beings to consider their sins. Okay. And where was that? Lanu Boshet Hapanim. Lanu Boshet. Daniel 9. Lacha Hashem Hatzedakah velanu Boshet Hapanim. Kayom hazeh leish Yehuda uleyoshvei Yerushalayim ulechol Israel hakarovim v'harachokim v'chol ha'aratzot asher hidachtam sham b'ma'alam asher ma'alu bach. O Lord, righteousness belongs to thee, but to us confusion of faces. Confusion. Is that how they translate Boshet? As at this day to the men of Yehuda and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to all Israel, who are near and who are far off, through all the countries, whither thou hast driven them because of their trespass, which they have trespassed against thee. Hashem lanu boshet hapanim lemelachenu lesarenu ve'lavotenu asher chatanu lach. O Lord, to us belongs confusion of face. Confusion of face. To our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. LaHashem Elokeinu harahamim v'haslichot ki maradnu bo. To the Lord our God belongs mercies and forgiveness, for we have rebelled against him. V'lo shamanu bekol Hashem Elokeinu lelechet betoratav asher natan lefanenu beyad avadav ha-nevi'im. For we have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God, to follow his Torot, which he set up before us by his servants, the prophets. V'chol Yisrael avaru et Toratecha v'sor levilti shomea shemoa bekolecha v'titach alenu ha'ala v'hashvuah asher ketuva betorat Moshe Eved ha'Elokim ki chatanu lo. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy Torah. And friendly Muslim,
Shalom.
shalom. How are you?
I'm very well, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while. I've also been very busy on different schedules and running here and running there. So we saw you live. Thought we'd pop in.
We are live. We are in fact live.
How have you been? I know you've been busy. Lots of stuff going on with you.
Lots of stuff going on, and despite not being Khalil.
I bought a friend.
Wow.
What's going on, Jacob?
Hey. So this month especially is like filled with lots and lots of Jewish holidays, and I do not stream on Jewish holidays, so I'm not going to be on. I wasn't on the last 2 days. Today is actually a minor holiday. Next week is going to be a very major holiday, and then there's going to be a whole week of holidays, and so yeah, haven't been streaming, and I've been like taking care of other stuff, but yeah.
Sure. I actually had a question for you, Jacob.
Yes, go ahead.
So I have this argument that I do with John chapter 7 to where Jesus in the Bible is blatantly a liar.
John chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 7. Any particular verse?
Well, you can start at the very beginning and go through basically the first portion where Jesus basically. So let's start off with your understanding, right? So it says,
Okay.
After this, Jesus went around in Galilee. He did not want to go about in Judea because the Jewish leaders were looking for a way to kill him.
Okay.
So verse 2. But when the Jewish festival of tabernacles was near. So let's stop right there.
In 2 weeks. It's in less than 2 weeks.
Okay. This is why I wanted to talk to you. Because some people, some Christians that I'm arguing with are saying that the Feast of Tabernacles is different than the Feast of Booths.
Ooh.
Deuteronomy 16:16.
So, well, I mean, we would have
some
to take
translations of the Bible say
I don't
Feast of Tabernacles. Some say Feast of Booths as if they're interchangeable.
John 7:2. 7:2. I mean, let's look at the Greek. Bible Hub. Where's Bible Hub? Why am I not seeing Bible Hub? There's Bible Hub. And the Greek feast. It says Feast of the Jews of Booths. Skene Pagoa. Okay. Let's see what that word is. The Feast of Tabernacles, the great festival of the Jews held in October. I mean, that's Sukkot. Skena, setting up tents. Pegnume. Yeah, no, this is definitely Sukkot.
So Feast
I mean,
of Booths is the Feast of Tabernacles.
Yes.
Okay, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. And curious, is the Feast of Booths or Feast of Tabernacles, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
is it necessary for all men to show up there to hold to the law?
It is one of the three. Well, you guys would say Hajj. We call it Chag. Same word in
Mhm.
Semitic thing. It is one of the three pilgrimage holidays, and it is incumbent on all men to, if they are able, to actually. It says Bechag Hasukot. I mean, I can find
It's
the
going to be
verse.
in Deuteronomy 16:16.
16:16.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe you. Let's look at Deuteronomy 16:16. Yira'eh kol zechurecha, all your
16.
that's 16. 16. 3 times a year, yeah, pa'amim b'shana yira'eh kol zechurecha, yeah, et penei Hashem, and all your men shall be seen in that place which God says, b'chag hamatzot u'b'chag Shavuot uvechag hasukot, right? Which that would be the the festival of booths. So yeah, it is a positive commandment for all Jewish males, if they are capable, to make a Hajj to the temple 3 times a year during the
Okay.
the
So if Jesus, the Christians claim that Jesus fulfilled and held to the law perfectly, right? Then he would have showed up to this necessarily, right?
if it were possible, I mean, again, this is this isn't how we view keeping to the law, right? We're not, we don't think that God necessarily thinks that so every person who didn't make it to Jerusalem 3 times a day, 3 times a year, every year, is some sort of sinner.
No, but if you have the ability to do so, you're commanded to do so, correct?
If you have the ability to do so and you have nothing else going on,
Okay.
sure.
So if it was possible for Jesus to have gone to the Feast of Booths, then he would have gone to the Feast of Booths. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
then we go back to John chapter 7, to where he tells his people, he tells his disciples,
You're right.
the world does not hate you, but the world hates me, for I tell you I tell it of its works are evil, right? A little further down. Yeah, so it says, the world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify that its works are evil. You go to the festival. I am not going up to this festival because my time has not yet fully come. After this, he stayed in Galilee. However, after his brothers had left the festival, he also went up, not publicly, but in secret. So wait, if he had the ability to go to this thing and he was commanded to go there, why would he tell his disciples, I'm not going? His disciples should have been like, what the hell wrong with you? Yeah, you are.
So how familiar are you with Robert Eisenman?
I've never heard of him.
Robert Eisenman is a somewhat controversial historian of actually Islam, but he is most well known for his work on James, the brother of Jesus. He got his PhD in Islamic history. And Robert Eisenman, I believe, basically understands the history much better than most people. I'm reading his book, which is really, really long, but I think I wish I had started reading it earlier. James, the brother of Jesus. And frankly, I think he has history completely correct. And generally, academic scholars believe that Jesus was he actually thinks that Jesus is Judas the Galilean, which I can believe. The most
not Judas Iscariot, right?
No, Judas.
Okay, you said Judas. I was like, what?
No, Judas the Galilean. So the word Judas, I mean, the name Judah is like one of the most common names.
Yeah, correct.
And there were like something like a tenth of all men living at that time were named Judas. Okay. Judas the Galilean is mentioned in Acts chapter 5. And he's also mentioned in Josephus because he was a rebel leader and a potential Messiah. And the question becomes, like, I would say most secular historians now, especially after the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, would say that the actual Jesus, not the Jesus in the Gospels, but the actual Jesus, was a revolutionary leader. And actually, Eisenman's theory is that Islam. So what happened was there was the Christian movement that existed under James, the brother of Jesus. And James was, in fact, the leader of Christianity. You can tell if you're paying a lot of attention to the Christian Bible. You can see James, even though everybody doesn't want to talk about him, he's like the most important, obviously the most important leader in Christianity after Jesus, right? And there was a struggle between James and Paul of Tarsus for controlling what became Christianity. It appears that James's group, the Nazareans or Notzrim, or what some people call Jewish Christianity, or sometimes called the Qumran community, sometimes called the Essenes, whatever. There's lots of names for them. It actually is quite possible that these are the people, the followers of James, are the people who ended up becoming Muslims. And that's why the Quran talks about Jews and Nasara, right? The Christians, the Notzrim. And actually in like the Talmud, it refers to Christians as Notzrim, right? Same word. And what I believe is actually true is Paul created a Gentile Christianity, which was completely different from the Jewish Christianity of Jesus's family, James and the other brothers of Jesus. And obviously, Gentile Christianity grew and now has 2 billion followers. What Robert Eisenman would say is that Jewish Christianity is actually what ended up becoming. I'm not sure if he believes in the Petra theory. I'm sure you're aware of the Petra theory. But he believes that that's what ended up becoming Islam.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's
And
this guy's
so-
name again?
Robert Eisenman.
I'm gonna have to do a little bit of digging on this guy.
So he actually has his courses. He was a professor at Cal State Long Beach, I want to say. He has his courses on YouTube. The thing is, he cannot stay on topic. Like he's giving this class, and like in the middle of it, he starts talking about like President Eisenhower for no good reason, and like the Red Sox, that type of stuff. And that's why even though I have his book, James, the Brother of Jesus, I hadn't started reading it until recently, but for me, it's a page turner. I've been like staying up at night reading it. And it's like huge. It is a huge book. And he's probably recognized as one of the top scholars on the Dead Sea Scrolls. He had to fight. There was all kinds of court cases and stuff. So he's one of the better known scholars and he's been on Myth Vision a bunch of times.
Okay, he looked familiar, and I think it was like, this is interesting. I think I've seen him on there before.
He's getting kind of old these days. He's a controversial historian, but he's actually like a legitimate historian. And frankly, I think he's pretty as close as another one I really like is James Tabor. He's also been on Myth Vision. The thing is, their beliefs are completely not consonant with mainstream Christianity. So, yeah,
interesting.
I mean, I can go onto this stuff. Once I finish the book, I plan on doing a review. But yeah, I personally do believe that Jesus and his movement were hijacked by Paul, who moved it in a completely different way than it was. And that's what's so interesting about Eisenman's book. Like he goes, so there are these historical. So Jamie Williams, who I don't know, says Paul and Jesus by James Tabor. Yeah, James Tabor similarly goes into this stuff. Yeah, if you're looking into the history of it, so Eisenman believes that what's called the pseudo-Clementines, which are they're forged letters from over 1,000 years ago, closer to like 1,500 years ago, maybe a bit more. He believes that they, in conjunction with the Gospels, can help you reconstruct basically Q. I don't know if you've heard of Q.
Like Q source?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he believes he can reconstruct Q through this by comparing the pseudo-Clementines with Acts and the Gospels. And it's interesting stuff. He makes really good arguments. Yeah, I know.
How do you do that though? Like with the lack of manuscripts, like honestly, like this stuff was put together even after we believe the prophet, peace be upon him, got his revelation. Like this is 8th century stuff here that we're talking about.
Well, hold on, the pseudo-Clementines? No,
like the compilation of all these manuscripts that we put together, right?
Acts and stuff. I mean, I think
I'm very skeptical because of that.
Look, the fact is that people are not that inventive. Like you look at, and this was part of so when Friendly Muslim was last on, Elias came on, and I showed him that thing I showed you.
Yep, that kind of went really. Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening. Go. What happened when he came on?
So I showed him that thing I showed you about the 2,000-year-old burnt manuscript of the Torah that's like exactly what we have now,
Mhm.
right? And he's like, so it doesn't say anything, and it's like, no, it actually tells you that like over the past 2,000 years, and that's what the Dead Sea Scrolls really show you, is there hasn't been that much change. There's been some change, right? I'm my my faith doesn't rely on there being no spelling mistakes in the Torah, right? That's I don't expect God to strike down every scribe who makes a spelling mistake in the Torah, right? Um, so that's not a huge deal. What is very faith affirming for me is, look, 2,000 years ago, it's pretty much the same. I mean, I look at the differences between the manuscripts. The differences in the 5 books of Moses are nothing like the differences in certainly in the Christian Bible, even the rest of Nach, right? Um, the 5 books of Moses. I mean, you you can take whichever version you prefer.
Mhm.
They pretty much say the exact same thing. The exact same thing. And the Dead Sea Scrolls, I mean, I think if you honestly believe that there is a God who is agentic, who actually decides what goes on in the world, you cannot avoid the Dead Sea Scrolls as an incredible modern day miracle. God made this happen, and it has been revolutionary to Christianity, certainly. And ultimately, I think it's going to be revolutionary for the entire world. I think it should be revolutionary to people's faith, also in Islam.
Mhm. Friendly Muslim, you there?
I guess not.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm here.
he fell asleep.
Yeah, no, I was just checking
we
something.
could read all the insults to my mother that Elias has been putting on my Discord server.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Oh yeah.
no, really?
Oh, he's been spending
Oh
the
my,
last like just insulting my mom left and right.
what? Man, I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry.
Hey, it's fine.
It's really
Uh,
not though.
yeah,
No, it's really
yesterday
not,
at
man.
2:19 p.m. after you f your mother, American pig. Like he's been on my Discord server. He's in the I have a prison channel on my Discord server, and he's honestly, I have to say, like, if you want to make Islam look bad, you couldn't pay somebody. You could not pay somebody to insult the Prophet as much as Elias does through his actions.
Wow. I'm shocked.
I'm not.
Why?
I'm not.
I'm so sorry, man. I honestly am like I apologize.
It's nothing. Look, there are there are Jews who similarly embarrass Judaism, and it's like, you know what, this is God's mercy. There's this famous I guess you would call it book called the Tomer Deborah, the date palm of Deborah, which a lot of Jews read. Right now, we're in what's called the Days of Awe, which is a time of repentance in Judaism. And he talks about trying to be like God, right? And he says, look how merciful God is, that we act the ways we do, and he doesn't just strike us down at every minute, right? And that is how merciful God is. And it, you know um he doesn't strike us down, no matter how flagrantly we sin against him.
Are you able to like block him from your Discord? Like, how does he?
Yeah,
Can
I
anyone just
don't
come
do
on
that.
there? Or?
Yeah, I limit people who behave poorly to a one particular channel that's marked not safe for work, and it's restricted. It has a time delay on it and stuff. So Claire and Elias there flirt with each other.
So,
I'm
wow.
hoping they'll hook up and become better Muslims, both of them.
A disclaimer, just for anybody watching who's not a Muslim. She's in her own zone, as it was.
Claire, I mean,
Yes.
she's a secular Koranist, so like she.
Yeah, but you can't believes in the Sharia but doesn't believe in the Creator. So you kind of
She
need one. You know,
look. I personally think she was, and that's how I ended up on your channel on EA Dawa. Actually, was somebody asked me about. So Claire came on your channel, and Khalil pulled up a 5-hour video I have on Claire. I think she's paid by somebody to make religious people look bad. I think that's what she does. I'm pretty sure she's actually some
I
agent,
mean,
some false flag.
Real quick,
yes.
I got to jump off of here. My wife just gave me a call. I got to talk to her. I want to give her a
Okay.
little bit of attention today before I go live here in about an hour. So I'm
No
going to jump off. But Jacob, it was nice seeing you again. As you can see, kind of like Issa's kind of like doing his thing, and I'm over here doing my thing. And then we link
you
up.
guys split up?
Yeah,
Oh.
not really. I mean, yeah. Every other Friday
No.
we team up on doing the gauntlet. So we do the gauntlet together. But I do, if you saw my screen, it was the hot seat. That's kind of like my thing that I do on certain nights of the week, and Issa's got his thing that he does on certain nights of the week. So you're more than welcome to come by and have a discussion if you like. But
I might just do that when I get a chance. I like Issa just fine, but I am a supporter of yours. I think honestly, I think you're doing God's work out there, and that's why I saw your discussion, your little talk with Sam. I'm hoping you and Sam get connected because he's really smart. He's a great guy, and I think he's doing God's work out there, against Trinity. And so like I've definitely been trying to raise.
Are you talking about Sam from Transfigured?
Yes.
Yeah. I can't wait to speak with him. He's a smart guy. He's definitely a smart guy.
He is brilliant. And by the way, he is also one of the world's authorities on the COVID vaccine.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. He's been published in the Lancet and I believe the Journal of American Medical Association.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump off of here, guys. Friendly Muslims, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And shalom. Jacob, I'll see you guys later.
Alaikum shalom. So for Muslim.
No. So what happened? Like, so we were just, obviously they're streaming the same content to two channels, essentially. So like they're doing like every night when they're the gauntlet. So you're streaming the same stuff to two different. And it was kind of like, well,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So like there's the philosophy stuff Issa doesn't really like, and then and so he's better at speaking with Christians and doing his Easter reviews also. So we kind of are into different segments. So we kind of said, well, look, let's do some programming for philosophy, debate reviews, other stuff. And then Khalil also wanted to make way for Mr. and Mrs. Dawa, which is a channel that he launched, and then Medina Dawa, She's also doing some beautiful readings where she reads a book and she goes through it. It's really the first one went live today. So it's really, spiritual stuff. So plus then I've had an influx of talking to atheists, ex-Muslims. People really liked our discussion on the friend zone. So I've brought a few episodes of that to EA Dower. So and then Issa also he has his looking for trouble, talking to Christians, his TikTok. He does a lot of also. So I think now there's more programming for everyone, and there's a more variety of programming
You know,
going on.
I again, I have this hope of a 24/7 channel. I mean, I think the Muslim Dawa scene might be able to run a 24/7 channel just by themselves. But personally, I do have a hope. I just don't have enough resources to make it happen. Of what I mean, I have no idea how much you've been paying attention to, like what I call post Platonism or this corner of the internet and that stuff. But I
Yeah,
do have
I saw bits and pieces. I saw like you were, I don't know, there was some bridges stuff going on, and you were
bridges
having
of
those little.
meaning. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I know there was some. So I didn't want to. You seemed sort of bogged down with it. So I was kind of just seeing where the dust settled, and then wanted to catch up with you and see what side of the fence you were on, and obviously I'd stand by you on the fence that you're on, and um,
Hey, Garth.
and
Honestly, it's not like we're going anywhere. The bridges of meaning thing is still going on. And Luke should come on, and Garth should come on, and we should talk about it. But for me, anything that's important is important long term, and this is a project. I would say that this is a community I've been part of for at least 2 years now. In
Mhm.
many ways, I would say a lot longer. And so for me, it's there are stuff there are things that are going on, and there may have to be a restructuring because of things that have happened. But that's part of that is because we've started becoming big enough that with the conferences, live conferences and stuff. There was a meeting in London I should have told you about. But there was a big conference in Germany, which has been part of the reason there was the dust up, because there were apparently protesters. There was a big meeting in Thunder Bay, Canada, which went very well. I'm actually working with Brigham Young University. Not sure you know what that is. It's a major university in the United States. Possibly having a live conference. And I would love for at least some of the Muslim Dawa scene people to be more involved. Haroon said he would come on my channel. You're still invited. I still want to have a
oh yeah,
conversation on my channel.
yeah, no, no. I mean, breaking news. I'm now working closely with Brother Haroon. So I kind of like the guy behind the scenes for a couple of people. So he's yeah. I mean, I would like that also. So what we're doing with Haroon, and again it's because of scheduling. Um, I think that sweet, I have the power. Yeah, no, no, I like that comment. No, no, it's not like sort of basically because I keep in touch with everybody, so I know kind of what everybody's schedule is. So everybody's kind of being like, all right, listen, I'm going to tell you, friendly Muslim, and then you tell everybody else, and you kind of work it out. So yes, Luke, we are friendly. Many are. Come on over to EA Dower or the Friendly Muslim channel or the Friend Zone, and you'll find out for yourself. But
Jordan's channel is very big. I don't know. Are you working with Jordan?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We like he's Return of the Dai series. So yeah. I mean, we're in contact with each other. But yeah, no. So
And Sam, who I was talking to Khalil about, and Luke is friends with, and I'm friends with. He's also had, for example, Shabir Ali on his channel. He's had Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, on his channel. He's had um, uh, Khalil Adnani.
Adnani, yeah.
On his channel. So we have been trying to include Muslims in our what we call our corner of the internet, and there aren't a lot of. There are a couple, I guess, of Muslims who actually engage with this material, but yeah, anytime you want time on my channel, if I'm streaming, if it's a time I would stream, I am definitely willing to amplify your voice, Khalil's voice, Jordan's voice, Haroon's voice, because I think these are voices for theism, for good in the world, sanity in the world,
Yeah,
and
no,
we
I agree, and I think I would. So I mean, I want to address Claire's comment. Basically, friendly Muslim, not very friendly towards me. I haven't been unfriendly to you. I've allowed you to
Okay,
speak.
Claire is not okay. Claire is Claire.
Yeah,
There's no the you are not allowed to be friendly to her. I'm sorry on this channel.
yeah, no,
I
no, no.
I
I have.
refuse. I refuse to allow her to contribute to this
Okay, yeah,
conversation.
no problem.
She's a bad.
Yeah, but just for the record, I haven't been unfriendly. You're free. That's it, basically. But
Yeah.
at some points, where you've made statements which are categorically wrong or divisive, then they've been called out. So that's all.
She's not a good person. So Luke says, I probably have more theological common ground with that Neoplatonic Sufi Muslim. He's not a Sufi. You're thinking of Khalil Adnani, if I'm saying that correctly. He's not Sufi. He's actually, I keep on getting this wrong. Not Ismaili.
Yeah,
he is Ismaili. Okay,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
Ismaili. So which is fringe, but I am fringe myself, so no problem there, Luke. But yeah, he probably, I mean, look, this corner of the internet tends to be a lot of people who are on the religious fringe, to some extent. Some people are perfectly Orthodox Christians. Some are Orthodox Jews. But a lot of us around here were pretty fringe. So yeah.
Oh, so Luke said he's pretty ignorant on Islam. So I mean, you want to know a bit more, or have conversations with Muslims. We're fine. Haroon
So
is lovely.
let me explain Luke to you. Luke is very strongly Trinitarian. God
Okay.
have mercy on his soul. And he refuses to think about the Trinity in logical terms because he says God isn't logical and religion isn't logical. And that's why it's been very difficult for me to convince him to leave his polytheistic ways. And if he wants to come on and defend his polytheism and shirk, he certainly can. Garth says, "What are theological debates like in Muslim circles?" Oof. Depends which Muslim.
Depends on which Muslims you have them with. Yeah, that's a very good. Very true.
So Garth says, "Trinitarians, we unite as one, but also separate." Very funny, Garth. But one of these days, I'm hoping to help as many Trinitarians move towards God as possible.
I think that's important too. Not
look, yeah, that's part of why I think Khalil does such great work. Not necessarily, when it comes down to it, I have my disagreements with most Muslims as well, but at the very least, we worship the same God.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. Um. I mean, um. Do you have anything called, like, we call it the fitra, which is the innate sense of somebody's soul, or their inner connection with. I don't know if you've heard that term, the fitra. I was just wondering if there was
So,
a.
according to Wikipedia, is
Mhm.
either the state of purity and innocence in which Muslims believe all humans to be born, or the ability to choose or reject God's guidance, with, with which both humans and jinn are endowed. Fitra is an Arabic word that is usually translated as original disposition, natural constitution, or innate nature. Okay, so have you heard of Dennis Prager?
No.
Dennis Prager is a very well-known Jewish commentator and radio show host in the United States. He Prager University, you may have heard of. It's not an actual university; it's a channel he has that's pretty popular on the internet. He's a basically he's a Republican radio host, but he's Jewish. And he's not exactly Orthodox, but a lot of his views are Orthodox. And he goes on about this a lot because he is absolutely opposed to the idea that what he says is human beings are not basically good. And I think that's a matter of um, semantic bad definition. So, when I hear Muslims talk about reverting to Islam, right? I think that is a mistake because human beings are not essentially good. We are principally maybe good. When God created us, he created us out of um, the stuff of heaven and the stuff of earth, right? And he combined that in such a way that each human being has a capacity for good and a capacity for evil. And we believe that in Judaism, we believe this is only human beings. This is not something that actually applies to anything other than human beings. And even to human beings, it only applies at certain times in your life when you actually are in a position where you can choose good or evil, and to some extent you have that capacity to choose good and evil. And the greater your spiritual strength, the greater capacity you have to choose good or evil. And so no human being, might not say no human being, but pretty much it is very, very rare that a human being does not have a capacity to choose good or evil. We all have an inclination, because we fall short of the glory of God, towards sin. Um, Even a righteous man, like it says in Proverbs, I believe it's from the righteous man falls 7 times and gets back up, right? So we believe that inherently being human is a state of sin itself, because to sin, the lowest form of sin, a chet, is to miss the mark of the ideal, and in being human, we all fail the ideal, which to some extent, I mean, that's it is a criticism that Judaism would have of many Muslims, because they believe that you know Muhammad could be ideal, whereas we would say that no human being would be ideal or has the capacity to be ideal, because only God is ideal. Um, so um, there is it is not that human beings are inherently good. We definitely have an inherent and fundamental goodness that has been put in us by God. the morning prayers start Elokai neshama shenatata bi tehora hi, my God, the neshama, the soul, the godly soul that you have given to me is pure, but inherently as human beings we fail to reach the perfection of even our own soul, which God has given to us.
Wow. Interesting. Oh, we need to have a friend zone on this topic. Wow.
we,
Jacob, yeah.
we can discuss whatever you want, but like that I would say what I said is generally in line with most of Judaism, regardless of which type of Judaism you think. Gar says a good itself seems more like an ideal rather than something that can be attributed to a finite being such as ourselves. I would agree with that. Is the notion of what it means to have faith in Islam similar to that in Christianity? All you friendly Muslims.
Yeah, well, you can have rational reasoning, you can have revelation. There are actually another. I think with Christian Trinitarianism or being Trinitarians, I think that's where some sort of problems happen. I think with Islam, it's very easy to connect with a creator and have prophets and messengers. I think it's a very easy and simple concept. So
Okay, so I think Garth is using the term faith a lot like Protestants do. He is, after all, God forgive him, a Protestant. And I would say probably what he means by that is Iman.
okay,
Yeah.
um,
And yeah, so go ahead.
possibly, but you're taught to ponder, be a student of knowledge. You know, you can rationalize it also. So I mean, part of the fitra is all of those, and it can be all of those, or it could just be revelation. It could be what you're born into, um, you know, or as you grow older, perhaps start questioning things. It becomes a rational position. So Khalil would be somebody that is of rational reasoning, which brought him to a creator. Complete rational reasoning. Nothing, you know, no spiritual movement, no nothing. The most rational, reasonable position he feels he can take is a creator by Islam. So yeah,
That
faith alone.
it's really interesting. I just saw that fitra, the word you're using, has the same root as the Hebrew word patur. So haftara, maftir. This is something that's used in Jewish liturgy somewhat. So you guys have Eid al-Fitr, which is, and the iftar, the breaking of the fast, which is a similar use of the word as it's used in Judaism. But the way we would put being the state of patur, which seems to be what you're talking about as far as fitra,
Yeah.
is a patur. So the Talmud says Anus Rahmana Patra. The a person who has no capacity, God will pater him. God will forgive him. That's the use that it's used.
Okay.
That person is not considered necessarily a it's a state of grace in terms of God's mercy. It's not a purity as you seem to be using it.
Okay. So God's mercy is a grace to somebody
God
that
is
cannot.
merciful to anyone who has who so we refer to that state to, for example, somebody who is in a society that is completely corrupt, right? If that person does not keep all of the things that we would consider incumbent upon him, but he does better than what everybody else does, we
Mhm.
would say of that person, anus rahmana patra, that God would consider such a person a patur for the things that he does not do, because he's not in a situation to be able to fulfill all of the commandments.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can see where there can be some connections made with just the natural state of someone also.
I have to wonder if it's not like if that statement did not make its way into Islam, because this is from the Talmud, which is slightly before the time of the Prophet.
Hmm.
Garth says, to me, the notion of faith is something like foundational faith, belief that leads toward trust, action, and commitment that is informed by reason.
Okay. Interesting. Maybe we need to have a three-way panel where a Christian, a Muslim, and a Jew talk about faith. Yeah, I think that would be a good one. Ooh, all
You
right.
should see if you can get Sam to come on your channel. Sam, you did you get to speak to Sam? I think you did.
I was
From
watching because
yeah.
I was off that night. But I was watching, but I saw him come on, and so I saw him have a very good conversation with Khalil. And
Yeah.
so I think they're trying to arrange another one. So yeah, no, inshallah that will be good. But yeah, no, he was on the list after I spoke to you. But yeah, I thought they had a good understanding with each other, and the conversation was very good. And so
I
I
mean,
think,
there are Christians I can recommend, including Father Eric is prominent in this corner of the internet, and you might be able to get him on. He's a Roman Catholic priest.
cool.
Father Hugh, actually, he's a priest in London, at Westminster Cathedral.
Wow.
He's been on my channel. You might contact him, and you might be able to talk to him. Um, Obviously, they're Roman Catholic priests with pretty much typical Roman Catholic views, but yeah, they're involved, and there are other Christians who are normal Christians, typical
Yeah,
Christians.
I would love
I
to see. What I'd love.
I
Sorry to
broadcast.
interrupt, but yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry. The main thing is, are they the type that will want to engage in the interfaith dialogue, basically? Because those are the ones I really want to speak to. Those are the ones, not I don't want to have combative conversations where we argue the Trinity, but I kind of want to make sure that I want to focus. And again, with Khalil also, what do we have in common? And those types of conversations I would definitely want to have. So, I mean, would they be open to that sort of conversation? Or
Yeah,
oh, cool.
Father Eric. We just have conversations. We don't like debate the Trinity.
Oh,
um,
okay, cool.
yeah, it's Father Eric. I consider a friend. I was able to go, have a lunch with him. I visited him in North Dakota
Oh, well.
over the summer. Father Hugh, I haven't gotten all the way to London, but when he came on, it was this corner of the internet. We're trying to have fun. We're trying to have serious conversations
Mhm,
where we understand each other, where
mhm,
we explore ideas together. That in- includes being honest about where we disagree and honest about where we agree. And really, I mean, it's, for me, being that it is against my religion to evangelize, it's pretty easy for me to be like, okay, this is what you believe, and I'm not gonna, I'm not going to challenge that because that's what I have to do in my religion. But there's also a lot of Christians who don't believe in, um, you know, the type of evangelism that, some Christians, the shamoon types, they don't believe that that's useful. You know what I
Oh
mean?
no, yeah, no. I mean, he's actually gone at Brother Haroon quite awfully. And he just used his
He's
because
a weird guy.
yeah, no. I mean, we did a stream on him, just to counter what he was kind of saying. But yeah, no, terrible, um, absolutely terrible. Such filthy dialogue. Such it's just it's such a disservice to good Christians. I mean, it really is. Um,
Uh,
yeah,
did
terrible.
you see the conversation that Jordan Peterson had with that Roman Catholic professor? It just came out like yesterday or the day before. It was
No.
really good, and they discussed Islam.
Oh, we might have to do a review on that one. Oh, that would be
Yeah,
interesting.
although the Islam part might not have been on, might have been on Daily Wire Plus. So yeah, they do
Okay.
the thing where it's not all on YouTube. Some of it is on YouTube. Some of it is behind a paywall.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but the professor, let me see if I can find the professor's name. Sure. Um, so Dr. Peter Kreeft. Yeah, this came out 2 days ago, and 2 hours of it is on. So Dr. Kreeft apparently is very interested. Luke, you came on. Luke, friendly Muslim, Luke, friendly Muslim
Nice to
has to
meet you.
play because he might get attacked in real life.
Oh, no. We're getting closer to uh the actual friendliness coming on live on screen. We're still talking about it, whether it needs to happen or whether doesn't need to happen. So
Honestly, look, there's a fundamental difference when you show your face, when you use your real name, and that's why I am such a big fan of it, and why I try to um, encourage everybody to actually use their real name, use their real face, turn their cameras on, because there are all kinds of trolls and bots on the internet, and yeah, it's just a different discussion this way.
Also, my daughters just got home. I was just like, all my kids just left, and so I was like, I'll pop on for a second. And so as soon as they come in the door, I'm gonna bolt. But anyhow, nice to meet you. What is your name, friendly Muslim
yeah,
cat?
that's it. It's quite easy. People
Oh,
remember it,
friendly
and
Muslim.
if you yeah, it works quite well so far.
Nice. But yeah, no,
This
I would
is
love. Jacob maybe knows this, but my life's been crazy lately, so my online presence has been much mitigated. I would love to talk to uh, some Muslim guys about a lot of things. I don't know. I think there's a lot of the more that I know about both Judaism and Islam, there's awesome stuff in it.
I, sorry, go
Luke,
ahead.
I think if you get a chance, you should go on EA Dawa. Khalil on his channel has. If you have to go, you have to go. But Khalil on his channel has open live streams. Okay,
Okay.
and you can, it also
Give
goes
him
late into the night. So after your kids
yeah,
go to bed, you might be
yeah,
able to
let
go.
me give him the link. Oh, am I? Hang on, I'm a mod on your. Am I? I think I am. Am I? Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. No, I have got a spanner. Okay, let me put the link in the old chat. Um, without fear. There you go. Yeah. I'm on Team Fettucci. Fettucci. Sorry. How do I say it again? How do I pronounce it?
Faturecci.
That's it.
Yeah, the
Fettucci.
accent's on the E at the end. Faturecci.
Damn, my British accent. I struggle at times with.
Oh,
Uh,
well, the name's actually Turkish.
oh,
Yeah, yeah, it means person who sells cloth.
okay. Oh, okay. Oh. I was thinking. Speaking of Haroon, I mean, he goes 10 p.m. Eastern on a Tuesday. What we've done, because I said, look, give me one day a week that people can connect with you, where you're free to have a
That's
conversation.
exactly when I do my live stream Bible studies.
Okie dokie. All right. So, 10 p.m. Eastern.
So usually 7 p.m. Pacific. So yeah,
Okay. I mean,
yeah.
one week.
Tuesdays 7 p.m. Pacific. These next 3 weeks I've taken off because of the high holidays. Um,
Okay.
but and actually the plan is to have one, and it's just an open live stream where I invite people. There's a friend of mine, Jason, who's a Christian, and we just discuss whatever topics people are interested in talking about in as far as the Hebrew Bible. So
Okay. So, all right. If
I told
okay,
Haroon he's more than welcome to drop by anytime I'm having a live stream, but I would also, be willing to schedule something if it works for him to have him on my
his,
channels. Definitely.
yeah, his scheduling is because of work commitments, family commitments. I've only been able to swing one day a week that I can sort of say,
But it's
look,
really interesting. Like he's a several generation Alabama native, I believe.
Mississippi,
Um, Mississippi, with a
Mississippi.
deep Southern accent, and he was actually he served in the U.S. military, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I believe so. So like somebody like him who seems as far as I know pretty patriotic, to convert to Islam. That's like a really interesting story. I would love to tell. Like I would love to have him on my channel to talk about how he went from being I believe he was a Protestant, right?
I don't know. I mean, if there's a channel called Towards Eternity, and
Mm-hmm.
his story is on there. I mean, he's got like 400,000 plus views on his story.
Oh,
In the last 3 weeks. Yeah.
can you find that link for me?
Yeah. Just if you just write Towards Eternity, the channel it's called Towards Eternity. Um,
Towards eternity.
and you look at their videos.
Harun?
No, just go to the channel.
There it is.
And there you go.
556,000 views.
Oh wow. Well, that's even bigger than.
Are they going to copyright strike me if I who is this Towards Eternity thing?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you probably don't want to, you could do a review of them. I mean, we did a review with Haroon, so that's how we kind of have been allowed to sort of do the footage. But I don't know if they're a Turkish Muslim channel.
If
Yeah, so
if they aren't going to copyright strike me, if I just go through it, including commentary and stuff, I would. This looks incredibly interesting.
okay. Why don't we? All right. What we'll do? We could schedule this. I've got to go to EA Dower, the hot seat, which is starting in 4 minutes. So I've got to run, unfortunately. But um, perhaps, maybe we could do a thing where we go through the story, maybe with Brother Haroon there also, and you from a Jewish
That would be
perspective.
beautiful.
I think that would be a cool stream. Um, Again, if you can fix a Tuesday at 9 p.m. and make yourself available, I can arrange for you to.
Tuesday at 9 p.m.
Oh, 10
It's gonna
p.m.
have to
Central.
be after the high holidays.
10 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, that's when because he's 6 hours
10,
behind. Yeah, so
10
it's
p.m. So
Eastern.
that's 7. That should be 7 p.m. Pacific, I believe.
Yeah, So the Eastern. So it's 10 p.m. Eastern. 100%. It's 10 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern.
Okay. So
So
it would have to be in November.
okay, not a problem. We'll make it
Yeah, it would
happen.
have to be in November. Oh, it would be so funny to do it on election night. If he wants to do it on election night, November 8th, that would be
Oh,
fun.
okay. I don't know
I
if
would
he's gonna be
totally do that.
partaking on that. So I'll speak to my client, as they say.
Speak to
And
the
see.
client, see what he thinks about it, because that would be a really interesting thing for us. Because a lot of people come on YouTube live streams for election night reactions and stuff, and
Okay.
yeah, if we could do a Jew, a Muslim, and a Christian reaction, that commentary stream, I think we would get a lot of views.
Okay. We'll figure something out. All right, Jacob. Well, it's been a pleasure. So I mean, you going online over the next 3 weeks, is it just see you when we see you kind of thing, or
Yeah, my next actual scheduled event is is on the 18th. I'm having the Bible study.
Okay.
And even that, I mean, it's because like it's right after the Jewish holiday ends.
Okay.
And even that I'm not 100% sure on, but that's my next scheduled thing is on the 18th.
Okay, great. All right, Jacob.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say goodbye for now. Shalom. And anyone watching, while Jacob's away, come and visit us at EA Dawa. We go 3 nights a week where there's an open panel. On a Sunday, you can call in, and it's just an open chill for conversations. I'm Friendly Muslim. You can come and visit my channel also, and I go live and have some open panels also, and on another channel called the Friend Zone. So we're all
I
here, and we'll be
I
having some great convos.
unreservedly recommend Khalil and EA Dawa. Khalil, Kino, Friendly Muslim. They're all very nice, open people, willing to have good conversations and to discuss things in a calm, rational manner. They're knowledgeable, intelligent people having good conversations, and I highly recommend the channel EA Dawa. I am personally a supporter of that channel, and
And one of our panelists also, one of our featured panelists also. So a friend of the channel, Brother Jacob, is indeed. So I'm not just a supporter, but an actual panelist also, I would say now, and a featured guest. So we had a great interview, which is being seen by many people, and also he's come on panel and been a support. And I look forward to actually having Jacob on as our Jewish representative on some panels. I think that would be great for future discussions. We are trying to get some academics on, possibly
nice.
Singer, who knows, some other names that we're trying to get on. So yeah, we're having an outreach. So I'd love Jacob to be a part of that also.
And Sam, who most of my audience is very familiar with, was on Khalil's channel. I actually played that on here during a
Cool.
comment thing. But also, he's going to be doing things with Khalil hopefully in the future. Again, I really want to see Khalil, Friendly Muslim, Kino becoming regular parts of this corner of the internet, because this corner of the internet can use Muslim voices. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, brother. Always a pleasure. Enjoy your festivities, and I'll say shalom for now.
Shalom. Anybody else who wants to come on? Otherwise, I am smack them with the power of the Trinity. That doesn't work. Unfortunately, well, fortunately, it doesn't work, but it doesn't work. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I am going to risk getting a copyright strike because this is really interesting to me. So this is Harun's story, and it would be nice. Hopefully, I will have Harun on my channel. But if anybody else is interested in watching, so the name of the video is, and I put the link in the description. FBI is here. What have you done? The story of an American missionary who converted to Islam. American missionary? Really? A missionary? I didn't know he was a missionary. Okay, let's play this, and we will be making heavy comments so that we do not get copyright stricken. Harun will hopefully be a future guest on this channel.
What was the thing that made you question your beliefs? How did 9/11 affect your life? How did your family and the people around you react to your conversion to Islam?
I was a missionary. I grew up in a place called the Bible Belt, which there's more churches than there are McDonald's. And
so he's from Mississippi or Missouri. I forget which one. It might be Missouri. And he's like several generations. So it's like interesting.
he looked at me and he stuck his finger in my face and he says, "You're a Muslim, man." I returned the finger and I said, "No, I'm not a Muslim. My name and that word will never be connected." He says, "The FBI is here. What have you done? You've brought the most shame to our family. What have you done?" And the guy puts a Kalashnikov. The two people that were with me, they just hit the ground. I looked and I said, "La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah." Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Harun, the American Muslim revert. I'm 43 years old. I live in South Mississippi. I have a farm. I'm a farmer. I've been a Muslim since 1998, 99, somewhere right around there. I lived in Saudi Arabia. I moved there when I was 20. I lived there for 10 years. After that, I moved back to the United States, where I live now.
What was the thing that made you question your beliefs?
So I was a Southern.
Wow, I did not realize he has been a Muslim that long. It's been over 20 years. And it was before 9/11, so...
Southern Baptist Christian. I grew up in a place called the Bible Belt, which there's more churches than there are McDonald's. I studied the Bible. I was a youth minister. I was a missionary. I served in a mission in Guatemala. Time when I exited Christianity, I was a youth minister in a Southern Baptist church. That's how it pretty much...
Wow. I have to wonder what Charlie would say to this.
led me to here.
How did you first hear about Islam?
I was in high school and I learned about, they taught us all the different religions: Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Of course, it was slanted. The people that were teaching it were all Southern Baptists like me, which they were not going to give the whole truth. But thank God that the test that we had, it gave the 5 pillars of Islam. It told us that Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the prophet. Of course, when it was taught to me, it was like, well, this is what they believe. And that was from when Abraham left Ishmael in the desert. Isaac was the one that was to carry the prophethood. That was the way it was explained. But they did give a good picture of Islam. There was nothing mentioned that would damage the religion. It was just saying, well, that's for them and this is for us.
What was the thing that made you question your beliefs?
So reading the Bible in the New Testament, studying Jesus, peace be upon him, with the Christian belief that Jesus was God and he was also the Son of God, that's what took me away, because he never said, "I'm your God, pray to me." It came later on with the
Trinity strikes again.
the Apostle Paul or Saul. And also in the book of Matthew, there's a place where he was with three of the, we'll say Sahaba, he was with the three of the apostles, and he was going into a garden where he told these three, he says, wait here, because if they find me, they'll kill me. That was a very human trait. That's something that if a God was saying something like that, it would be like, I don't care what you do, I'm going to go here, I'm not worried. So at least that was the thing that I knew was true. And then I prayed to God alone. That was the, I say, evolution of how I became Muslim.
Can you tell us about your journey from Christianity to Islam?
I'll tell you the story how it happened. I had to have been 19, probably right around 20. I was driving to church. I was going to teach my youth ministry, which they were from 15 to 18. That was the age group that I was teaching. I was at war with myself. Like, I needed God. I needed him in my life. I needed the right path to God. I was sitting there. I had my Wrigley Spearmint chewing gum in my mouth.
This is just so beautiful, honestly. Like, yeah, it's honestly beautiful. Like, this is the type of thing where I think God is leading someone towards not necessarily the truth, because I think as human beings we never have the truth, but more truth, right? Towards a path that's better.
I was chewing and I'm driving my Ford F-150 down a highway in Mississippi, going to church. I said, okay, God, please show me the way. Show me this path that you want me to be in. Show me the truth. I need it now. Please, God, please give it to me. And it just in my mind, I said, you know what? So I'm going to take this gum and I'm not going to look and I'm going to throw it. And I said, if it goes out that window, then I'm no longer going to believe in Jesus as God and I'm just going to pray to God. So I threw that piece of chewing gum and then I turned my head and I looked down. I pulled over on the side of the highway. I got out. I walked around the truck. I opened the door. I searched high. I searched low. The gum was gone. Got back in the truck and I passed right by the church. So after.
Not sure that's how I would do it, but look, ultimately I think he was at a place where he realized that the Trinity is false, and God helped him along the way. God bless him.
After this event had taken place, I met someone that I knew when I was in college studying. He's from Saudi Arabia. His name's Ali Al-Ghamdi. He's from the very southern tip of Saudi Arabia, a place called Bisha. We had met up. He asked me, he says, what's your religion? And I told him, I said, I'm without religion. He says, what do you mean? What's this? There's no such thing as without religion. What do you believe? I said, well, I pray to God. And he said, okay. He said, so are you a Christian? I said, no, I'm not a Christian. He said, well, what do you think Jesus, peace be upon him, is? I said, he's a prophet. He's a man just like me and you. He says, so he's not the son of God? And I said, no, he's a man. He's a prophet. He delivered a word and he delivered a message. And, I believe what he said was true. And he said, okay. He says, well, what do you think about the prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? And I said, well, he says, do you think he's a prophet? I said, yeah, I do. I said, I think he's a prophet. He had a word also, but I don't believe that was for me. I believe that it was for a different group of people. And he looked at me and he stuck his finger in my face and he says, you're a Muslim, man. And then I returned the finger and I said, no. I said, I'm not a Muslim. And my name and that word will never be connected. So that day, there was something inside me. It was like a dot. There was some type of dot that had been put in my heart. So back in the day, I had my old Packard Bell. It was not many people know what a Packard Bell is today. They don't exist. And so I would go on there and I would ask Jeeves, which Jeeves was the Google of today.
That's hilarious. He's like right around my age. He's a little younger than I am.
Back then. So I would go and ask Jeeves, just type in Islamic topics. One day I'd come home from work and I was, just following my normal routine, come home from work, take off my shoes and everything, get comfortable and sat down at my computer, what is Islam? Give the 5 pillars of Islam. When I read them, for some reason, I read La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And I said, I believe that. And then I read, make Hajj, to fast, to pay zakat, to pray. Every pillar that I read, it was like something had opened. I can't explain it. It was like if my heart was being painted or a light was opening inside me. Then once I had finished reading all the 5 pillars, I knew that I couldn't go any other direction. That was the only direction that I could go. And there was a link it said how to be Muslim. So I clicked that link and there was a small PDF that opened up. I'm holding this piece of paper and then I went to the bathroom. I took my shahada in a bathroom by myself. I went in the bathroom.
Wow. Wow. I took a shahada in the bathroom.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. I washed myself in the bathroom, and then from that point, I started praying.
And your family? How was their reaction?
So one day I was praying, and I forgot to lock the door. The door opens, and Ali, he comes in. He says, "Oh, hey," he says, "what are you doing?" And I'm standing in prayer. He walks away, and then I finished prayer, and I quietly, I kind of tiptoed in the living room there, and he's sitting on the couch. He says, "Are you making fun of me?" He says, "Are you making fun of my religion?" And I sat down beside him, and I sat there, and I said, "Ali," I said, "I have something I need to tell you." And I said, "I'm Muslim."
Who's this Ali guy?
Took my shahada. And subhanAllah, this guy, it's like he took his shahada that day. we weren't on the best of paths, you know, in those days. We did things we weren't supposed to. And that day was when this group of all of the Saudi Shabab, it was like they become Muslim. They wanted to be good because they saw me and they wanted to be good examples. At that time, Ali, he says, well, we have to go to the mosque. Have you been to the mosque? I said, no, I don't know. I don't know anything about the mosque. He says, so we have to go to the mosque. So that Friday, that Jummah was a homecoming. I was hugged and kissed and picked up and, you know, shown off and taken to this one and taken to that one, invited for dinners for days. I probably didn't spend money after that for 2 months because they all wanted me to eat in their home. And it was the most beautiful thing was when I first went to that mosque there in Pensacola. It was a wonderful time. So my grandfather had a heart attack. He was in the hospital, and I had driven back from Pensacola, Florida, where I was living, to be there with him. In the hospitals, we have a waiting room, and there's a telephone there, and there's always someone sitting near that phone answering for all the families for people who are having surgeries. So I was sitting there, and my brothers in Islam knew that I was, you know, my grandfather was ill, and there was a Saudi brother. His name was Muhammad Al-Atabi, sitting there, and the phone rings, and my aunt, she's the loudest one in our family, her voice carries for miles. Phone rings, she grabs the phone. I didn't know the conversation. I'm just assuming what he told her was, is Harun there? And then my aunt, Harun, is there a Harun here? Harun family? And I just I sink down in my chair.
Okay, that's just funny.
And then Muhammad, he tells, oh, wait, Carly, is Carly there? And then my aunt's curious now. She's wondering. So I hear, huh? Carly? Islam? So Islam? Huh. She does that, and she passes the phone to me, and I'm, yes, hello. Alaikum salam. Yeah, okay, I gotta go. Bye. So at that point, my whole family found out all at once. They all knew. And the response was, huh. You know, it was very simple.
What was the major change for you after becoming a Muslim?
So the Saleh Al-Ghamdi, he told me, he says, okay, he says, you're Muslim now.
Well, his family took it pretty well for Southern Baptists. Although this was before 9/11.
He says, I have a company. You're going to do good in Saudi Arabia. Come to Saudi and let's work. I moved there to Saudi Arabia. Immediately when I got there, Saleh had taken me to a place it's called Jubail, Saudi Arabia. It's a Marcus Dajjaliyat Dawah Center. They educated me, and I learned from some of the best people there. You know, I just sat back and watched and just telling my story. You know, we would be in front of a group of 2,000 people just talking. You know, we'd be telling them how we embraced Islam. They just loved to sit and to listen to what we had to say. That was how I got to Saudi.
Can you tell us about an unforgettable event that happened in the Dawah Center?
It was a prayer time, and I was coming there to the Dawah Center. So you have in front of the masjid, there's a bathroom, and then right after there's a big open area, and then you can go inside the masjid, and then you have upstairs the Dawah Center and all. So I came walking up, and there were 3 people standing there, 3 from India. I could tell they were Hindu from the gold rings that they were wearing, the gold necklaces. So I walked up, and I said, do you need some help? They pointed. They said, oh, this place is for Muslims only. And I told them no. I said, it's.
This is in Saudi Arabia. Hindus in Saudi Arabia. It's kind of hard being a Hindu in Saudi Arabia.
For anyone can come inside. It's a Dawah Center. You know, that's basically we're propagating the religion of Islam. And he says, no, it says Muslims only. And then I looked, and up on where the bathroom, it says Muslims only. And I said, oh, that's for the bathroom, and I don't even know why that's there. That shouldn't be there. I said, you can come inside and see the place. He says, no, this is for Muslims only. We're not going in. So there was a bucket of water that was connected to the air conditioner, catching the condensation to water the flowers. So I took that bucket of water and I dumped it in the flowers. I turned it upside down. And I stood on top of it, and I pulled that sign, Muslims only, off of it. And then I set the sign in that bucket and set it back where it was. And they thought like, we're going to jail. We're all going to jail. We're done. And I was like, no, wait, don't run. Come back. Come, please. There was one Saudi guy there. He's like, oh, what did you do? What happened? I said, just stay away. Just wait. I'll talk to you later. I brought these 3 guys in the mosque, and they were terrified. You could just see the whites of their eyes. They were so scared to be inside there. And I said, okay, look, we're fixing to pray. I said, y'all sit back here, watch what we do. Then I'm going to be back. I'll talk to you. You know, after prayer, got there, got all my guys, all my Indians, Pakistanis and Filipinos. We all sat there in our circle. They were bringing books for them and everything in their language. We got to talking to them and telling them, you know, the basis of our religion. 2 of those brothers, they both embraced Islam on the spot. They prayed the next prayer. We went to eat. We ate together. But the third one, he was hesitant, and I felt from him, he was there. He knew what we were saying was true, but I felt there was something else holding him back. So about 2 days passed, and I went to his labor camp. And this labor camp is just a bunch of men living in a place, shared accommodation, shared bath.
Hinduism is the 3rd largest religion in Saudi Arabia, followed by 1.3% of population residing in the nation. In 2020, there were nearly 451,347, among whom most of them were from Indians and Nepalis. Honestly, I would have been. See, this is the thing. I know what it's like. I know. Gregory, I don't know. Do I know you? Gregory Richer. I wanted to put my head in the door and say hello. Oh, I just noticed it. Yeah, I just got 500 subscribers. I've been thinking about doing something halfway there. Living on a prayer. I'm probably gonna do a 500 subscribers stream, but I'm gonna wait until I'm a bit above 500 because it goes up and down and stuff. Maybe after Yom Kippur, we'll see. But New Year, and yeah. I mean, look, this is the problem with Muslim countries. Most Muslims are generally nice people, and Islamic mysticism, yeah. So some people would especially say Ismailis. Like, I didn't bring up the fight with Khalil Andani too much with Friendly Muslim. Khalil is an Ismaili Muslim, which means, according to most of Islam, he is considered an apostate. It's difficult, honestly. Like, you have Muslims and you have Muslims, right? Shabir Ali, he's considered a Muslim by this Muslim Dawah group, right? The EA Dawah people. They won't speak against Shabir Ali, which is if they were hostile, I would be a little bit more hesitant in my endorsement of them. But look, I can't. Yeah, you have to. It's a thing. I've heard that more Iranians are slowly becoming the nuns due to the fundamentalism. Yeah, you might, Garth. You might actually, if you haven't seen the interview I did with Friendly Muslim on his channel, he had me on talking about my experiences in Iran. It was a very nice conversation I had with him. You might find that interesting. Yeah. Oh, Gregory. Okay, now I'm feeling stupid. You're Gregory. You're Saint Greg, right? Yeah, you might find it interesting. But look, there's a reason why that sign for Muslims only was actually there, and Haroon. I'm gonna have to ask him about this, because taking that sign down was presumptuous of him, and many people would agree with him. At the same time, if he didn't have this story of two people taking their shahada right afterwards, he could have gotten into real trouble.
Bathrooms, not the best of living conditions. And I went there to him. He was in one room with probably about 5 or 6 other people. They were all Hindu. They were all looking at me, and I'm, talking about Islam and everything. And then they're all looking at him, and they're saying, like, what are you doing? So at that point, I knew what was going on with him, is that he was afraid what they were going to say or what they were going to do. So we left that night, took him out to eat and everything. And then he took his shahada that night. But he said, I can't tell anyone. And the brothers around me at that time, they said, it's okay, no problem. You keep it in your heart until you feel that you're safe, that you can come out and you can tell people. I told him I did the same thing. I didn't know that I wasn't supposed. I felt bad when I embraced it. I didn't tell people because I felt I believed something so strongly that I need to tell it. I was just afraid that I would have the same fear that he did. He got the good advice. He got the right way. And that's the first 3, inshallah. From those 3, you never know. You don't know what's coming from them. It's like a tree. Those 3 could be millions in the future.
How did 9/11 affect your life, and what kind of difficulties have you experienced as an American Muslim at that time?
That was a very difficult time. I was out working. I was doing my job, and I had no idea that what was happening. I received a call on my cell phone. It was one of my brothers. His name's Rashid Al-Khatib. He called me. He said, "Are you okay?" And I told him, I said, I don't know why. And at that point, I started getting afraid. He told me, he says, "You don't know what happened?" I told him, "No." I said, I don't know what happened. I said, "Please tell me quickly." He said, "Your country's been attacked. Is your family okay?" I told him, I said, "No." I said, "I don't know what's going on. What happened?" He says, "The World Towers have been attacked, and the Pentagon also has been attacked." And he says, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm right here at this place." And he drove to me. It was a moment that there was no sense in it. It was something that happened that was so atrocious that damaged us so greatly. And it was a moment that when he told me, he says, "Are you okay? And is your family okay?" It was terrifying. And then I started to think, like, all of the people, the children that were inside. There was a daycare center inside there for the people that work there. After he took me home. He said, "You're staying with me for a few days," because we had no idea what was happening. We didn't know where it was coming from. We didn't know what was going to happen next. I received a phone call from my brother, and he said to me, he says, "What have you done?" And I said, "Wait, hold on a minute. What do you mean?" He says, "You've brought the most shame to our family than anything. What have you done?" I said, "Jamie," I said, "Wait a second." I said, "Hold on." I said, "What's happened?" He says, "The FBI's here. They've come here and they're asking questions about you." And I said, "Okay." I said, "There's just rest assured, there's nothing. I've done nothing wrong." He says, "You run away from the United States and you ran to this terrorist group." I said, "Just please calm down." I said, "Give me the telephone number of the FBI agent. I'm going to call them and I'm going to get this straightened out." So what had happened is the FBI agent went to my grandfather that I spoke of earlier. When the FBI agent knocked on the door, hold up their badges to an old man like that with already a pre-existing condition, he had to go to the hospital. They had to rush him to the emergency room because he hit the floor. I got the number of this FBI agent. I called it up and I was infuriated. I was so angry at that point. I had got on the phone with him and I said, "Yes." I said, "This is Carly Dodrell. I heard that you're looking for me." He says, "Oh yes, Mr. Dodrell, where are you? We've been searching everywhere for you." And I told him, I said, "Well, you being the FBI, if you have any sense, you'll contact the consulate where I'm registered and I'm living here in Saudi Arabia. I'm not hiding from anyone." He says, "Well, we need to talk to you. We've been searching for you and we need to ask you some questions." And I said, "Okay." I said, "But first, if you go to another family member of mine, when I get back to the United States, I will find you. I will come to you where you are at in your office and I will teach you a lesson you'll never forget." He said, "Do you understand you're threatening me?" I said, "Yes, I understand that." I said, "I am threatening you." I said, "You will not go to another family member, friend, or anyone else that is related to me." He says, "Okay, well, we need to ask you some questions." So he starts asking about Al-Ghamdis and he starts asking about all these people. I told him, I said, "Look, let's make a long story short. If any of my brothers are involved and were a part of this thing that happened," I said, "I'm involved as well." He says, "Wait," he says, "Do you understand what you're saying?" I said, "Yes, I understand very well." I said, "We were students, we were workers, we were, sometimes we barely had money to get food that we wanted or, go out and do things." I said, "There's no way that any of them could have had any part in this, what had happened." I said, "Furthermore, it's not even an act of Islam. It's an act of a terrorist, which is not what we are." So the conversation went a little bit farther, but there was one thing for sure that I didn't want to, harm my family. I didn't want people to think that I was part of this. Yeah, September 11th it was not an act of Islam. It's very defined in our religion that if you take the life of any innocent, if you take your own life, you're excluded, you're out. There are some people that have been misguided that do have evil and hatred, and they are lovers of this life. They're not really followers of our religion, because our religion promotes peace and submission to one God, and it's in the name. Salam is salam, and that's peace. If our religion is named peace, how can it be that this religion is such terrorist and horrible people? If you just go and you follow the teachings and you read the Quran and you read the Sunnah of the Prophet, then you're going to know what this religion is. You cannot take this religion from what one person said or what one website said or what one preacher had published a book about. You need to go and look at it yourself and you will find the truth. But the only way that you're going to have the truth in your heart is asking God to bring it into your heart. You must go and submit yourself, open yourself up to God. If you believe in God, open yourself up and let him show you the right way.
What did you do after going through all these difficulties? Did you return back to the US?
So after 9/11, I continued. I stayed in Saudi Arabia. Everyone loved America after September 11th. Everyone was, "Oh, we feel sorry for America." They supported America. Everyone was all about, this horrible thing that
Everyone, not everyone.
happened. It's a terrible thing. That all changed, and I'll never forget the day the American forces entered Afghanistan. That day, the whole world changed. The whole Islamic community changed. I was coming out of McDonald's that day. I was working. I came out of this McDonald's, and I have my white shirt and my tie. I'm the white guy there. I stand out. There was a group of kids standing over, and then out of that group of kids, there was a wad of spit came and landed right in the center of my tie. And I looked at that point, and I'd never been spit on before, and I just couldn't believe, such a thing just happened to me. How did I get spit on? At that point, then all these types of things. There was so many attacks that was taking place on Americans, people inside compounds that were being killed. These people, the enemies of Islam, which are the terrorists, they were seeking people out in their homes. I had to be careful at that point. All my friends, they said, "You can't go out. You need to stay home. You can't go out in the streets." And at that point, my Arabic was strong enough that once I spoke Arabic, it was hard to convince people that I wasn't an Arab or I wasn't someone from Islamic country. So when we would go out, people would say, "Oh, hello, hey, how are you?" And I would say, "Ish duli," what do you want? They would say, "Oh, أنا آسف, أنت أمريكي?" Or, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were American." I say, "أعوذ بالله حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. أنا أمريكي, حرام عليك." I would say, "Oh, I'm not American." And then at that point, I protected myself. Where we were waiting for a brother out in the street, there was a caprice kept circling I saw it one time, 2 times. I'm always aware of what's happening around me. And especially at that time, this caprice comes and it stops, and the guy puts a Kalashnikov, Russian-made Kalashnikov firearm out the window. The 2 people that were with me, they just hit the ground. And I'm standing there and I'm thinking, like, if he's going to shoot, they're dead. We're all dead. I can't run this way. I can't run that way. I looked and I said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He pulled the gun back inside the car and he says, you're forgiven. And then he drove away. The shahada, I mean, it's been a protection for me since that day in the bath.
Honestly, I'm going to have to ask him about this as well, because really?
Room to that day facing a firearm.
Is America a suitable place to live your religion for you and your family?
A country built on accepting everyone. You know, it's an accepting country. However, the laws and the culture, just like you go anywhere, laws are going to state that, you know, I have the right to practice whatever I want to practice. Culture is a little bit different. We're not really culturally accepted. I've had numerous issues with my children in school, and I've told some people that I'm Muslim, never spoke to them again. I've got friends that, you know, they're in the church and they don't want anything to do with us, and I have lost friends because of that. I can't just go up to someone and tell them that I'm Muslim. I worked for a company one time, and one of the questions that I was going to get promoted. So this promotion, the manager that was there had told me, he said, oh, your religion was in question. He says, we actually discussed your religion, and we didn't know if it would be okay for you to be put in a position that you're going to be put in. And in America's standard, at that point, I could have owned the company. I could have, you know, they all would have lost their job. They would have sent me a check to, you know, support me for the rest of my life because they said that statement. But when I heard that, you know, it opened up the channel for me to tell them, well, this is what we believe, you know. So I look for the opportunities, and I don't want to damage the religion any farther. You'd be in the news, a Muslim guy gets issued $2 million because he was discriminated against at a job interview. You know, I don't want to damage the religion. I want to take every opportunity that I can to spread the word, and that's what I do. We just have to be careful in the U.S., but it is, you know, it is a place of justice. You know, you don't have to worry. You will always get the justice. You will always be, you know, as far as the law is concerned, but socially, not so much. While I was on my way to the Mosques of America tour, I got pulled over, and one of my headlights just went out all of a sudden. And so when I got pulled over, the sheriff's deputy, there were 3 vehicles. I don't know why there were so many. And so I said, I'm a YouTuber. Do you mind if I video? He says, oh, no, go ahead. You can. So I got the camera out, and I said, I was having problems with the video. I think my camera was full. So I went ahead. I just went live. I said, okay, I'm just going to do it live. So I went live. I set the phone on the back of my car, and this police officer, he's coming up. He didn't know, you know, they went and checked everything out. I didn't get arrested. I didn't have any criminal background. He told me, well, you need to fix your headlight. I said, I will. I'll get it fixed. And he says, I'm curious. He says, I just have to know. And then I knew exactly what he was fixing to ask. I said, okay, here's my door. Here's my opportunity. So, you know, all these blue flashing lights in the background, and here I am, you know, the Harun, the American Muslim revert, fixing to make dawah to a police officer, and 7 or 8 others standing there with firearms and dogs and everything else. So he asked, he says, I have to ask. He says, what's your YouTube channel about? And then I told him. I told him exactly, you know, I was able to deliver a message to him.
So you gave dawah?
Right. I think it was in 40 seconds or less, I believe. It was a very quick, I said, do you know about Islam? Do you know what we believe? And, you know, he's like, no. And I said, well, do you mind if I tell you? And then, you know, I had the chance. I just witnessed to it real quick and shook his hand, which police officers don't shake the hands of anyone because that puts them in a vulnerable spot. When I stuck my hand out, which is very uncommon, I assumed that he would just stand there and he would shake my hand. But in that video, he actually accepted my salam. You know, he accepted my hello. Now, all of them, I said, hey guys, I told him my YouTube channel. So now from that one video, now all of those police officers, I'm sure they went and they watched it. When they watched it, the way the algorithms in YouTube work, so many other people around them that are friends with them and know them, they were suggested those videos.
If someone is curious about Islam, how should that person search about this religion?
So if you're interested in Islam, the first thing would be, you know, you're going to look online. But for every one good website we have that's true, we have 1,000 that are built to mislead. And even among our own beliefs and our own religion, we have certain people that believe something completely separate from what our Quran and our Prophet teaches us. So I would say that going to the
This is the problem. I mean, it's like Islam, which Islam? Like, which Islam, right?
internet, and then also finding someone that can help you, that you can ask questions that you trust. And you know, there are mosques everywhere. If you just go Google mosque near me, you're going to find one. You can, you know, find a mosque and find a good brother to help you out.
What is the quality of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that impressed you the most?
It would have to be his.
I have to say, I personally think most of the mosques in the West are funded by the Saudis, and they are Wahhabi, they are Salafist, and frankly, I don't think that's, well, first of all, it's becoming more and more prominent in Sunni Islam, but if you're asking me who the actual leader, right, what is genuine Islam, I mean, it's hard to say, but the Imam al-Azhar is much more of a leader in actual Islam, then Qaradawi from the kingdom, Saudi Arabia, was certainly, say, at least 30, 40 years ago. And yeah, I mean, the Saudis have made a lot of headway, and I'm not sure that's best for Islam. These are things I might talk to Haroon. I didn't know his background. I don't know. I mean, obviously he went to Saudi Arabia. He didn't go to Egypt. Like, there are a lot of questions I could ask him. A lot of things I would be interested in knowing. So.
His humanity, the humanity of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the example, and it is the example that we all aspire to be. He was so humble and kind to everyone. I've never seen harsh words that he's given, even when he was.
What? I'm guessing he has different views of.
Was getting on to someone, if he was telling them something that they did wrong, it was still in a way that they wanted to hear it. They wanted to hear it. It was never, like we get onto our children. It was delivered in a way that people wanted to receive. And that's the way that I like to make dawah. When I make my dawah and I tell people about Islam, is I try to think about how would the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, approach this person. This is our belief. It's a belief of submission and peace to one God. It's to strive and to be more like him is what we're all wanting to be.
What would you like to say as your final comments?
So, my final comments is that I've been given so much and I've been rewarded with this wonderful things that I have. And now I want to give myself back. My journey is right now, and inshallah for the rest of my life, is I want to be in mosques. I want to be in dawah centers. I want to be inside your homes, from your mobile device to your televisions. I want to be able to be heard, and I want my word, and which is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be heard throughout the world and to be accepted, inshallah.
It was a wonderful interview. Thank you for coming.
Alhamdulillah.
So hopefully we'll have Haroon on my channel. It'll be interesting. He seems like a really nice guy. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I would be interested in having further talk with him, especially because he does. So, like I've said before, I am very, very, very reluctant to have. I'm very reluctant to have discussions with people that weaken their faith. When I talk to somebody like Khalil, who's only, he was an atheist a year before. Like, I don't ever want to challenge his faith. At the same time, I have my questions. I have my things I wonder about. So anyway, that's been 2 hours. I think I'm gonna get going. I will talk to you guys later.